Format, which is so pretty. That's like
Alright, so I got the shoes. Got them on feet. Let's go review them. What's going on, guys? Picsoleated here, back at it again with another review. Today we are looking at the Adidas Yeezy 500 in the blush colorway. If you've noticed, I haven't posted a lot of Adidas on my channel lately. If you're wondering why that is, it's really only because I've been taking L's on pairs that I wanted. Seriously, that's about it. The NMD Hue Holy collection and a few others, but aside from that, you can see I've modified the format of this video a little bit. I just wanted to add a little more perspective to it. So yes, we're looking at the Yeezy 500 blush. I won my pair off the Adidas Confirmed app. If you're in Canada, more specifically in the Greater Toronto area, and don't know what that app is, smack yourself upside the head real quick, then download this app if you're trying to cop hype Adidas sneakers out here. Canada's stock isn't always the most plentiful, so you gotta take every chance you can get. This is the first time I've ever won on the Confirmed app. Just FYI, we have only had a few releases on it so far. Considering the app has only been in Canada for a short period of time, I think the first real significant drop on here was the Pharrell Hue Trail Pack, the ones that released before the Hue Holy Pack. Regardless, these shoes weren't the most difficult to win either, as they're pretty decently stocked, and so I picked up my pair from the Adidas Original store in Toronto. The official release date for this shoe is April 14th, 2018, which is the day I picked these shoes up. They retailed for $280 Canadian over here in Canada. I believe they retailed for $200 US in the States. A new addition to the Yeezy lineup and pretty much an OG colorway now, since this is actually the first colorway to release of this model. The 500 sits squarely between the Yeezy 350 and the 750. Mathematically speaking, not really, which brings up the question whether the numbers really matter. Is there some sort of conspiracy here? 7 minus 5 equals 3, 5 minus 3 equals 2, 3 times 2 equals 6, 5 equals 5, 5 sixes equals 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. That's 2 more than the devil would like, but let's just go with it anyway. Illuminati confirmed. Moving on, these are the first pair of numbered Adidas Yeezys without boost, aside from the Yeezy Power Phase, which I honestly don't even count as Yeezys. They don't follow the intricate Illuminati numbered system and are just a rehash of an older Adidas and Reebok model. I don't even know why they exist, other than to sell more garbage to hypebeasts. Mini PSA, hypebeast kids, educate yourselves, buy good product. Don't buy everything with a big name behind it. Also, don't unsubscribe just because I said that, please. So yes, these are the first, in my eyes, official Yeezys without boost in them, and to be honest, I'm really psyched about these. The Yeezy 500 Blush, previously known as the Desert Rat, the name change being for obvious reasons, Adidas probably realizing naming their shoe after a diseased animal was the wrong move. Side note, I also call some of my friends that from time to time because they a bunch of snitches. Just kidding, but not really. The shoe was actually released before, during the 747 warehouse event in LA during All-Star Weekend in February, and is now officially being released, so now it's available to the masses, which I'm very excited about since I'm truly a fan of this shoe for many reasons. But before we get into all that, let's look at the materials. The shoe is made entirely of very traditional materials. Don't expect to see any prime knit or continental rubber because, well, there is none. The upper is this one sand tone that Adidas is labeling blush, like the makeup girls use, or a few guys too. I know y'all out there, it's cool, I'm not judging. You see these patches of engineered mesh across the midfoot overlaid with these lines of tumbled leather, which is additionally overlaid with hairy suede panels. This whole design wrapping around from the front of the shoe towards the back and intermedial side. You also get a singular hit of 3M piping running along the middle of the shoe, wrapping all around. The eyelets are reinforced with these hairy suede patches. The tongue is made of a more tightly woven mesh and has this leather panel with a tongue tab that kind of looks like an 8 or infinity symbol depending on how you look at it. What you trying to tell us, yay? If we flip it sideways and add a 5 next to it, we get more Illuminati 500 symbolism. The shoes come with traditional dad shoe style rope laces in the same blush or sand colorway and intertwined through the tongue. We also have 2 strips of this clear taping on the tongue, not sure what it's for. We have these reinforcing panels on both sides planted in between the midsole and the upper, presumably to keep the shoe in shape and held up and to prevent you from feeling the different bumps of the midsole. Moving down to the midsole, we have this really aggressive, really chunky midsole that looks great from the top down view. It is made of adiprene, which is far from a new technology, but it is actually pretty squishy nonetheless and has shock absorption properties. Not to the same extent as Boost, but it's there. We have this non-marking outsole, which pretty much just implies that this outsole won't leave marks on like a basketball court if you played ball in these for whatever reason. The outsole is slightly rubbery too, similar to a basketball outsole, which kind of makes sense since these are pretty much a callback to the older shoes Adidas made for Kobe, specifically the Kobe 8. Yes, Kobe was at some point in history signed to Adidas, which is part of what I like about this sneaker. I love the aesthetic of those shoes back then, and I love it now. This shoe makes me feel like I have dinosaur feet, like I'm a sexy dinosaur. what's good? Finally, my favorite part of the sneaker is this Ortholite insole with Adidas and Yeezy branding on it. It looks like a plain old insole until you take it out and see all the bright colors underneath with the separate pods of cushioning. Talk about a surprise. When it comes to comfort, these shoes really threw me off guard. When you first see this shoe, it comes off as old school. You think it's going to be chunky, solid, heavy, no cushioning, but trying them on foot, they're hella light, they're hella flexible, and the midsole actually has some cushioning properties to it. I've never tried shoes with Adidas on them before, and so I had no idea what to expect. It's actually light and comfortable. It's not going to blow your mind. No 5+ year old tech would, but it gets the job done. And of course, the Ortholite insole plays its part too. It's just not the same without the insole in these. As for sizing, I went true to size in these, and these actually fit kind of tight in the toes at true to size. I kind of want to go half a size up, but I'm not sure because my toes are pretty uncomfortable at the front, but the heel of the shoe feels very forgiving. Ultimately, I think it would have served me better to go half a size up in these, and I would recommend that you do the same. I'm a wide foot, #duckfeet gang, what's good, but the width isn't an issue in this shoe, it's more the length. So I'm a true to size 10, and I feel like it might have been better to go half a size up. I'm just hoping the toe box breaks in a little because they're still wearable at true to size, just slightly uncomfortable. Essentially, whatever size you wear in Yeezy 350 V2s would probably work for these. Now, on to the real question here. There were a lot of mixed views of this shoe riding up to the release, and none of them has really changed since the release. A lot of sneakerheads were divided on whether they liked them or whether they didn't like these shoes, and I wasn't really sure where it was all coming from. And of course, I haven't done this in a while, but for these kicks, I had to bring back the hype beast lacing, because who needs a secure fit? What's interesting about this pair is that because the laces run through the tongue, you actually get this separation between the loops when you hypebeast lace them, which actually turns out to create a dope, unique hypebeast lace. I also switched the style up and watched the money pile up. Yay reference. Because the shoe is so aggressive, I busted out these Yeezy blue clay Midsole, I don't know how to pronounce it. These Yeezy boucle pants, I'll put the text up, but just giving you a different look here with the repulsive pants in the sock hypebeast style on one leg. When I first saw these, I loved the design, but I wasn't a big fan of the monotone colorway. I liked it, but it wasn't enough for me to want them. Riding up to the release, of course, I still feel the same way. Love the shoe. The colorway could have been better though. I didn't hear that from many people, so I started wondering why other people didn't really like them, and my ignorant ass came up with a few possibilities. One, because no boost. Every hype Yeezy since Kanye moved to Adidas has had boost. Remember, I don't count power phases as real Yeezys. Plus, they weren't that hyped anyway, except for the first pair. And since Adidas hype started with boost and comfort in mind, people were probably hoping for the same with these, especially with the advent of the Yeezy 700, which also had the dad shoe aesthetic, but had boost in it without outright showing it. Number two, the price point is too high. Honestly, for a shoe with traditional materials, old tech, no boost, I have to agree, $200 US and 280 Canadian dollars especially makes no sense. That's literally $20 below Yeezy 350 boost retail. It kind of hurt buying these just because you do feel like you're getting ripped off even at retail, although people pay resale for far less valuable shoes, but resale should not determine the retail price point, since it should represent what the company thinks the value of the shoes is, not what it's valued based on how hard it is to get. Which brings me to number three, because it has no resale. I honestly think this is probably one of the biggest factors. This pair was very well stocked, and when resellers got word of that, they distanced themselves. No doubt the shoe still sold out for the most part, but I'm sure there were a few raffle winners who didn't pick up their pairs, and it's crazy how big of a difference this little factor, not related to any actual physical or sentimental properties of the shoe, makes in the buying decision of the shoe. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people who bought them to wear, and this is good for them because more people who want the shoe actually got them, but I know for a fact there are people out there who would have bought these and wore them if they knew the resale was higher, just because it would indicate more desirability for the shoe, and it would have meant it was more difficult to get these shoes. And they would have bought them just based off those values, which is a little sad if you ask me. So I posted on my Instagram asking why people really didn't buy them. Follow me on there if you haven't already, at Picsoleated. And the common answers I got were they didn't have the funds, which no knock to that. If that's the case, by all means, always be smarter with your money. Shoes are an expensive investment, especially most collaborative sneakers these days. They didn't like the way it looks, also a good reason. So there are the people who actually don't like the shoe and say it's too chunky. So to me, these are the same people who wouldn't like the Yeezy 700 because it's also chunky. And if that's the case, you actually don't like the way the shoe looks, obviously there's no reason to buy it. No boost, no innovation, and the colorway is bleh. So there you have it. That's why people actually don't like the shoe, and the whole point of a simple colorway paired with no new tech, yet the shoe is priced so high, it really does make it a difficult decision to buy these. but I love the design, and although the colorway isn't the best, it will go with nearly anything, so there's a plus to that. I don't have many sand colored shoes, so this fills that void for me. If you took anything from this video, hit that like and subscribe button. What do you think about the Yeezy 500s? Did Yeezy rip us off, or is it yet another fresh silhouette? Let me know in the comments. Catch you later. Picsoleated is blushing.